There's a reason to be triggered almost every day.
There's not. You're so full of shit, Dan.
Anytime that you are feeling triggered, it means you're carrying a loaded gun. That's literally what the word means. Half of the things you see online, they're designed to make you do things because they make you reactive. If you're not reactive, the government and the media companies and all the people doing things that are not good for humanity, they lose all their power. Be unprogrammable. One of the more powerful techniques is
Welcome to the Dan Astin-Gregory podcast, the place to be to live free and prosper in a world gone mad. We're on a mission to reach over 50,000 subscribers, and your support helps us to stay bold, uncensored, and independent. So please subscribe now, and let's rise above the noise together. Today, we're diving into one of the most important topics of our time, how to take back control of your nervous system in an age of constant outrage, where media thrives on division, the algorithms reward reactivity, and most people, they're stuck in a loop, triggered, exhausted, and unknowingly controlled. But what if you could step out of that loop? What if you could train your nervous system to stop reacting and start responding with clarity, with calm and conscious power? My guest today is someone that I've admired and followed for years. Dave Asprey is the founder of the Biohacking movement and author of the brand new book, Heavily Meditated. In this conversation, Dave shares how to become untriggerable, unprogrammable, and fully in control of your inner state. We're not just talking about meditation, we're talking about mental sovereignty, nervous system mastery, and the tools to stay free, grounded, and focused no matter what the world throws at you. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the noise, addicted to the outrage, or just done with the stress, then this turbocharged conversation is your reset button. And if you want to go deeper, then please grab a copy of Dave's book, Heavily Meditated. You'll find the link in the description. And while we're on the topic of taking back control of your mind, we've just launched the Thinking Society, a 6-week online course designed to upgrade your critical thinking, strengthen your mental sovereignty, and give you the tools to break down those manipulative narratives. It kicks off Thursday, the 22nd of May. Head to weareelevate.org/Thinking Society to find out more and secure your spot. Now buckle up and let's get into it. Welcome, Dave Asprey.
Dave Asprey, the world is triggered. People are bombarded with moral outrage, experiencing daily doses of cortisol, chasing the next dopamine hit. What's the consequence of this on our lives and our human health?
Oh, it definitely makes life better to be stressed all the time and triggered all the time, because that gives you the moral right to tell other people how they have to behave so you won't be triggered. I mean, what could be better than that? Or anytime that you are feeling triggered, it means you're carrying a loaded gun. That's literally what the word means. So it's your job, if you want to carry a loaded gun, to be really, really peaceful about it. Or maybe you just don't need to carry a loaded gun all the time. You can unload it, be absolutely impossible to trigger, which gives you the most control, the most power, the most presence. And it actually makes you dangerous, but not in a bad way. It's like danger. Who knows what you might do? Because you are a person who cannot be manipulated. And that's the kind of world that I want to live in. You can have two kinds of peace. You can have the peace where everyone is so tired, so malnourished, so traumatized, so triggered that they just sit in their cubicles and behave themselves. Or where everyone is full of danger because they can do whatever they choose, but they choose peace because we always choose peace and kindness biologically, unless someone's misbehaving, and then we will stop them. And that is the kind of world that creates the most peace, the most flourishing of humanity. And the reason I wrote Heavily Meditated is because the technique of making yourself impossible to trigger has taken me 10 years, thousands of people with electrodes on their head for 5 days at a time to figure out what is the neuroscience, what are the steps so that you can be impossible to trigger.
Well, thank goodness someone's been doing that, Dave, because it all sounds blissful, what you've described, but frankly, I believe we're dealing with the most transformational period in human history. We're dealing with media distrust, social division, polarization, institutional collapse. You know, there's a reason to be triggered almost every day. It's
There's not. You're so full of shit, Dan.
Well, let's try and transform this then. How do we break this trigger loop? You know, if someone is stuck in emotional reactivity to all the worldly events, how do we reclaim our power?
All right, so here's the deal. The worldly events are happening, and you get to choose whether you're going to be triggered or you're going to be aware. And there's 3 steps of development that I talk about in Heavily Meditated that come out of Buddhist practice. And it's not a Buddhist book. It's many different lineages are woven into it. But The first step is empathy. Learn to feel other people's pain. Dude, that sucks right now. There's a lot of people in pain. And if you are in a state of empathy, it's not very evolved. Because now you're just pulling in everyone else's pain. You're like, oh, woe is me. Woe is the world. And if I could just say, fuck that. Okay, I don't know. Am I allowed to swear on your show?
Yep.
Good deal. Okay. The next one, above empathy, is compassion. And compassion is where, instead of being triggered, your nervous system, before you can even think, you automatically wish other people well, even if they vote in a way you don't like. Because they're humans. You wish all life. I wish you well, right? I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to say, you be you, right? I can see your suffering right now. That's okay. I don't have to feel your suffering. I can just see it. But the step above that, the one that I wrote the book for, it's called equanimity, or in the West, we call that resilience. And the picture of that is the monk who can meditate in the middle of a hurricane and nothing can take you out of your chosen state. So if you don't like the way the world is, that's okay. But if you're triggered by the world, then that means you're not in charge of yourself and you can't do anything about it. You are being blown around like a leaf in the wind. What you want to do is you want to be able to say, I learned how to not be triggered, and I learned how to recognize when people are doing something evil or wrong or not in interest of humanity or destroying soil on the planet. And instead of being reactive and therefore ineffective, I'm not reactive. I am powerful. I am in charge of my nervous system. I see what you're doing. I'm not wasting one electron in my body on being angry about it. And I'm going to take conscious, chosen, strategic action to change things. If you are not on that path, all you are is part of the problem. There's a story about Mother Teresa where a protester during the Vietnam War said, will you join our march against the war? And she said, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, I will join a march for peace, but I will not join a march against the war. The reality of things is that the more you fight against something, the stronger you make it. So you don't fight against it. You work for the things you want. You don't oppose the bad things. You build good things that are more powerful. And it's a very different thing. And you can only do that if you're in charge of your nervous system. Heavily meditated is every tool, technique, and tip from the bedroom to the jungle to cave meditation to electronics that put you in charge of your nervous system so that the media companies aren't in charge of your nervous system. If they trigger you, if their story of global events triggers you, dude, they're in charge of you. You are being programmed. Be unprogrammable. That was almost the title of the book.
Well, I'll borrow it for the title of this episode because for our audience, this, Dave, is the most important thing. And I remember hearing Ram Dass, he used to meditate for at least 15 minutes before consuming the news so that he could just get in that state of equanimity that you spoke about, so that he could just see the words on the page and see things as they are, not worse than they are. But it's easier said than done. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and subject you to the news stories that I'm reading on a day-to-day basis.
You could measure my heart rate variability or my brainwaves during the news. They would not change at all.
Wow.
Because I'm holding a state of curiosity and awareness. Curiosity cancels fear, right? And I also recognize that half of the things I see in the news, or maybe 90%, they're entirely different interpretations. Every human has a different lens on reality, and your lens is clouded by trauma, by programming, by societal beliefs. When you do the practice called the reset process and heavily meditated, you clean off your lens on reality. And you can say, I'm not going to judge what's happening. That looks like that's going to create a lot of harm. I wonder who's doing it and why, because whatever they're saying is the cause on the news is probably not correct. So you have to jump in on it and get angry. You can say, you know what? That's a problem. I'm feeling a calling. My mission is I'm going to fix this problem. I'm going to get the plastic out of the ocean. Right? I'm going to work on the problem of corruption in government to create the rule of law. Right? Or I can see what's happening. How do I change the system? But it wasn't in charge of you, because half of the things you see online, they're designed to make you do things because they make you reactive. If you're not reactive, the government and the media companies and all the people doing things that are not good for humanity, they lose all their power because it's like it doesn't do anything to you.
Yes, this is exactly what we need to be talking about. So you spent the best part of your life figuring this out, and you've distilled so much of this into your latest book, which quite frankly couldn't have come at a better time.
The world needs it right now.
What would you say are some of the top tips for mastering our inner state so that we can stay free, grounded, and sane in this current period?
One of the more powerful techniques is called bicep. And it's not, the bicep on your arm. That's a caffeine tattoo on my bicep, by the way.
Yeah.
It's brief, intentional, conscious exposure to pain. And what? Well, monks used to whip themselves. Yogis would lay on beds of nails. People who are recovering from addiction usually are covered in tattoos and piercings for a reason. Briefly doing something painful. Oh, biohackers sit in cold water. Same thing. Or jalapenos will do it too. Brief exposure to pain causes your body to change its dopamine receptors so that it takes less dopamine to motivate you. And if you want to be motivated to create positive change in the world, I didn't say to be peaceful. I said to create positive change in the world by any means necessary. I support that, but to do it from a place of consciousness, not reactivity. If you do that, having better dopamine receptors really makes everything easier. The reason the monks did it is it made it easier for them to remain in prayer states because it took less dopamine to be motivated. So this is one of the many, many techniques in there. And there's two kinds of people that are out there. Throughout the last many thousands of years, 98% of society was involved in agriculture. So a bunch of us are wired to be farmers. And 2 to 5% are wired to be warriors. And if there's a fire or an explosion, most people are going to run away. And some people are wired in their bones to run towards it because, well, someone's got to put it out. Someone's got to take care of the injured people. And if you are one of the warrior types, the meditation techniques designed for farmers will be kryptonite for you. And many of the meditation devices out there just knock me on my ass for the whole day. I don't like those states. I know my states. I have my own EEG. Like I built a neuroscience company for this stuff. So depending on your unique states, heavily meditated contains different types of meditation that take you to specific altered states that give you additional power in the world. The most powerful one is the reset process that lets you turn off your triggers. But one type of meditation that takes 2 minutes every day for people who are biased towards action is called Zazen, which is a samurai meditation. Literally, it's 2 minutes of kneeling in a certain position and staring at a spot on the floor. For your brain, that may be what you need. And if you try to do something that would be great if your job is to, toil in the fields, and there's merit in toiling in the fields, right? But if that meditation is just like, dude, I can't do it, that's okay, right? The reality, though, is you want to be constantly watching what your nervous system does before you can think. And it's going to send you these strong feelings about stuff. Those feelings are all bullshit. It's just an ancient operating system part of your body trying to keep you safe. And it doesn't understand media. It doesn't understand time. It doesn't understand threats. Everything's a tiger or not. And it's biased towards tigers about 9 times more, even if they're not real. You learn to control that, and you're in charge of yourself.
A quick pause, because if you're resonating with this conversation, then you already know how important it is to take back control of your mind in a world that's constantly trying to hijack it. That's exactly why we created the Thinking Society, a 6-week course to help you sharpen your critical thinking, to break down narratives and strengthen your mental sovereignty. We kick off live on Thursday, the 22nd of May, and places are limited. So join us now at weareelevate.org/Thinking Society. Back to Dave.
Yeah, to me, the book is kind of like, as you're describing the kind of warrior mentality, I was kind of imagining having these like arrows that I can just pull out based upon whatever the need is, and you do fire each shot as it's needed to
What a great analogy. It's the set of tools you would need, right? And sometimes you need a big sword and sometimes you need a bow. Like you've got all of them because different states are necessary. And this idea that we're all going to be in the default reality where we're all triggered and annoyed by things happening. No, you can say, all right, I'm going to choose to be in a different state today, right? And it's a menu of options. You get to pick. Sometimes I want to go in and reset things. I want to go into the control panel of my nervous system and turn off the alerts from TikTok. Well, you can do that on your phone, but what if you turned off the TikTok alerts in your head? So if an alert went off, there was no reactivity. Because right now, when an alert goes off on your phone, it's creating a state of emergency in your nervous system. You can train your nervous system to not give 2 shits about that. Like right now, I'm just looking on my phone. Oh, wow. 1,677 unread text messages. You think I lose sleep over that?
no.
Welcome to Joe. And some of us, a couple billionaires in there, I probably should respond to, but I haven't even seen them. Like, I don't know. Because when I have time and I choose, I will do that. But it does not control me anymore. Right? And you can get there. There's no stress about it. And that's about controlling your body's reactivity. Your body has a different consciousness than your mind. They're not the same thing. And most of us think our body is our mind. And that is one of the reasons that the media can control us. You learn that skill and you can laugh at the stories and be like, oh, there's 10 different stories. None of them is probably true. Isn't that interesting? You can say, I'm going to make my mission to figure out what's true. Or you can say, I don't know what's going on. I know it's not good. I don't have to tell myself that I know who's doing it. That's not what I'm going to fix. I'm aware. I'm not triggered. I'm going to fix this. And you choose your mission and you do it.
Yes, right with you, brother. So here's a big one for you. So the last few years have been perhaps the most divisive period in history. A lot of our audience during COVID fell out with
Can I just pause for a second? I think World War I was worse. Just saying. I'll keep going.
Yeah, well, this is the power of biohacking. I wasn't around during those days, but if yes, context, relevance, yeah, good. But nonetheless, we had this divisive time, and in your book, you talk about forgiveness, and you know, this for me is a tough one. Letting go of resentments, you know, and you frame it not as a moral act, but as a neurological upgrade. Could you let us know what that really means?
A lot of people, including me, I was a much angrier person at a time in my life. A lot of people believe that resentment and anger are sources of power. And the problem is, if you burn anger as your energy source, it will consume you. Like, you will become Darth Vader. Right? It is a great spark to ignite a fire, but if that fire is just running off anger and resentment, you are fucked. Okay, it will destroy your happiness, it will destroy your life, it will destroy your family, and you won't achieve your goals. Like, ew, right? You'll literally probably go work for the WHO or somebody. So what could you do about that? Well, it's what forgiveness is. And forgiveness is not about saying to someone, oh, I forgive you. Forgiveness is a neurological and nervous system act of turning off resentment, grudges, and anger so that you no longer carry them. Because if you're holding a grudge against someone, it doesn't really hurt them, it hurts you, and you're wasting your energy. You know, you have 100 energy units every day, let's say. Well, if you spend 30 of them being angry at people who are just going about their life or angry about things, how about you just stop wasting that energy about being angry and turn that energy into awareness so you can take righteous action instead of just being angry. So resentment is not good power. Anger is not good power. Forgiveness, so that you're like, okay, I have no neurological reactivity. I'm going to stop you. But I'm not going to stop you because I'm triggered. I'm going to stop you because I'm strategic and I'm aware. And you can't fool me anymore. You can't control me by pushing my buttons anymore. I don't have any buttons to push. That's what I want to build.
Dave, heavily meditated is that toolkit we need for this modern world. What's the first thing you'd say that people should do to get started once they've got the book?
Read the book and listen to your nervous system. One of the techniques that's in the book is going to stand out to you and go, oh, like I feel it in my bones. Like there's hairs on the back of my neck went up. That's the one. And go do just one thing. And after you do that and you've mastered that, I go, maybe reread it, or just what was number 2 on the list, and just go down the list. You have to do everything. This is a recipe book, but pick the one that's shiniest and you will totally rock.
Dave Asprey, thank you so much. I can see a world of peaceful warriors unfolding from here. Thank you so much for your wisdom here today and for what you put together in the book. Really looking forward to sharing it with our audience.
You're welcome, Dan. As they say, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Right on. Big love. Peace out to you.
If there's one thing that I take from today's conversation, it's this. You don't have to be at the mercy of the madness. You can train your nervous system, you can reclaim your mind, and you can choose to respond with purpose and not panic. Because in a world built to provoke you, your greatest power is the ability to stay calm, clear, and untriggerable. If this conversation resonated, go and grab a copy of Dave's book, Heavily Meditated. It's packed with tools to help you refocus and rise above the noise. You'll find the link in the description. And if you're serious about building your mental resilience and sharpening your thinking in this chaotic world, then join us inside the Thinking Society. It's our 6-week journey to help you break down narratives, think critically, and reclaim your mental sovereignty one thought at a time. We begin live on Thursday, the 22nd of May, and we'd love to have you with us. So head to weareelevate.org/Thinking Society to find out more and secure your spot. Until next time, I'm Dan Astin-Gregory. Thanks for tuning in. Live free and prosper.